The coupe gets a lot of criticism. People call it outdated and spilly, a shape designed to kill bubbles and flatten aromas. And yet, here we are, still drawn to it, still ordering champagne in it, and still photographing it. Because the coupe isn't a mistake, it's a mood. Cheers to the glass that refuses to be forgotten. Welcome back to the VINVERITY Show. Hello, and thank you so much for joining me again today. This episode is dedicated to exploring one of wine's most photographed technical instruments, the coupe. While it's true that its wide, shallow bowl allows CO2 to escape faster, the bubbles soften more quickly than they would in a flute. But let's pause here for a bit of perspective. A standard pour of sparkling wine is about 4 ounces. That's a very small serving of something very delicious. You're enjoying a fleeting moment. And in that moment, the coupe opens the wine up beautifully. The open design doesn't just lose bubbles, it also lifts aromatics. The wine meets air immediately, and those delicate notes rise straight toward your nose. It feels generous, expressive, romantic. There's definitely a different experience drinking champagne out of a coupe versus a flute. We were taught that flutes protect bubbles, and that sounds logical. Narrow opening, slower gas escape, and a longer fizz. But wine science, including the work of French physicist Gérard Liget-Belair, shows that bubbles are not just for sparkle. They are aroma elevators. These bubbles carry flavor compounds upward and release them into the air. So, in an extremely narrow flute, that aromatic space is limited. And the result is that wines can often feel restrained, not necessarily because the wine itself lacks complexity, but perhaps because it lacks room to speak. You get a spectacle before any sensation. So sometimes the flute doesn't preserve magic at all, it actually just contains it. The coupe is just the opposite. It allows the wine to breathe instantly, and that first impression can be broader, softer, and more perfumed. The trade off is that the bubbles do fade sooner, but again, in a 4-ounce pour, that trade feels completely reasonable. And let's be honest, the coupe wins in real world practicality too. It stacks well, stores well, and travels beautifully on trays. Where the flute, meanwhile, is tall, tippy, and awkward to store, and heartbreakingly easy to knock over. Then there's history. The coupe is deeply rooted in champagne tradition. You've probably heard the famous story that it was modeled after Marie Antoinette's breast. This is a romantic story, but it's not actually true. The coupe predates Marie Antoinette by over a century, likely originating in England in the 17th century. But this myth survives because it captures exactly what the coupe represents: indulgence, glamour, and a little bit of mischief. The coupe is not only a technical instrument, it's a celebration vessel. Now, between the flute and the coupe, modern wine world has actually largely landed somewhere in between. Most wine professionals and wine aficionados prefer tulip-shaped or universal white wine glasses for sparkling wine. These glasses give room for aromas to develop, a gentle narrowing to focus these aromas, better bubble retention than a coupe, and a fuller, truer expression of the wine. These are objectively the best tasting tool. But wine isn't only about objectivity, it's about the whole experience. Glass shape affects how we slow down, how we pay attention, and how we savor. In very narrow or very flat glasses, our focus often shifts to ritual and appearance rather than aroma and texture. Sometimes the wine isn't disappointing at all, we just didn't give it the right conditions. So, where does that leave the coupe? Not as the most precise, or maybe not as the most analytical, but it's definitely the most poetic. The coupe is perfect for celebrations, first pours, candlelight, old films, and feeling glamorous for absolutely no reason at all. The coupe reminds us that wine is not always about optimization, sometimes it's just about pure joy. And on that note, in a restaurant, don't ever feel shy to ask for a white wine glass for your sparkling wine or happily accepting a coupe and leaning into the moment. So, cheers to the forever iconic, the coupe. And until next time, in wine, there is truth.